Good morning, good afternoon, good night, or whatever time of day it is for you. In today's video, I am going to be talking about the impact of young people's voices in today's society. Also, the experience of me personally being young and not always being taken seriously by adults in my life. So, luckily, as I've gotten older, I've had a lot of people in my life tell me that I seem like I have an old soul, whatever that's supposed to mean. I guess basically that I act older than I am or appear to be. And I think that's true, maybe, for a lot of people nowadays, a lot of young people nowadays. Just because we're going through times where, we have access to the internet, it's at our disposal, and even little kids nowadays can be online, so they can learn about many different things that maybe 20, 30 plus years ago, kids wouldn't have never known about. Is that a problem? It can be in some ways, but also I think this might be controversial, but it could be a bit enlightening in my opinion. If kids are curious and their parents are sheltering them, they can use the internet as an outlet to find information that they may need. Although, yes, they should be careful with it. And they aren't always monitored by their parents. B, we as Gen Z and millennials are going through some trying times. Growing up, we've been going through trying times. A lot of huge things have happened, like the newer generation, my generation, had to deal with COVID for a long time. I was 14 when COVID happened, and it's just it was a huge earth-shattering event, and so a lot of young people going through those times had to suddenly grow up and realize that bad things were happening in the world, and that may have contributed to some of the younger generations maturing a bit faster than maybe they would have otherwise. Now, I think there is an issue, though, when it comes to grown adults underestimating and questioning the intelligence of younger people. I remember growing up, and I wouldn't really say they're bad people for saying nobody is a bad person, I think, for assuming this. I think it's just natural to assume, for adults to assume that children are more ignorant and more gullible than them. But I used to feel pretty insecure and upset about that when it would be pushed onto me. Like, for example, I'll be at a family party and all the adults will be talking about something that they think I'm not privy to, when in reality, I am. I know exactly what they're talking about. They just think that I don't know what they're talking about because it's adult stuff. And I think that's really stupid, honestly. Because the two things I mentioned before, one, the internet, and two, trying times. So yes, I do know what you're talking about, because I'm Gen Z. So, like, I know exactly what you're saying. You can't go your entire life thinking you can say whatever you want in front of kids because they're not going to understand it. Because even if they don't understand it, you would be so surprised at how much children pick up. Like, when a parent says a swear word in front of a child, they may then start adopting that language. That's how powerful it is. Children learn and grow from their role models. So even if they don't know what you're talking about now, they will find out later, and they may try to question it. So if they ask you because they're curious, then you need to be prepared and give them an honest answer. Or if you don't want to give them an answer, just say, when you're older, I'll teach you about it. But where the problem lies is the adults thinking that we're stupid, basically. Because we're not stupid. Children are very intelligent. Oh, teenagers especially. From my age group, ages like 13 to 19, which is my age group, which I will almost be out of pretty soon. Scary, but that's another story. There's a stereotype that comes up in the media a lot about teenagers being irresponsible, spontaneous. They act without thinking, you know, basically that they have no forethought and that they're just abrasive, chaotic people with like no brain whatsoever. And I really hate that stereotype. I honestly do. Oh, especially prevalent in horror films. You know what's gonna happen to the group of teenagers partying in the woods, right? Like, it's a common trope at this point. And I don't hear many people talking about this. I feel like that's a harmful narrative to be portraying so often. I mean, yeah, there are the handful of teenagers who may need a reality check, you know, they may need to grow up a little more. But it freaked me out how often people say, you know, to me that I act so mature for my age. And yes, I take it as a compliment, but I also think, but then you're implying that I shouldn't be, or that technically biology has made me not intelligent and not mature for my age. You know, it's kind of like a backhanded compliment, I feel like, in a way, if that makes sense. Now, I feel like if you're saying that to really, really young children who display signs of intelligence, I guess, yeah, you could say that. Maybe they're a little more advanced for their age. But teenagers? Like, do you have any idea how much teenagers have been through? What they've done, you know, what they've experienced in life already? Not as much as, say, a 30-year-old. So maybe they don't have the wisdom of like a 30 or 60-year-old, but they still have a bit of wisdom, you know, because we're going through a lot of progression is happening. We're transitioning through middle school, high school, college in our teen years, and those are big times. A lot of social development, a lot of intellectual and emotional development. Trust me, I've been through the fair share. Honestly, more than fair. A huge share of development in my personal life. Since I was 13 to 18 right now. Been through a lot. You would be able to tell the difference, I think, between 16-year-old me and 18-year-old me, 16-year-old me was very emotionally reactive, just very, I feel like, barbaric in a way, and just like irreverent, you know, just not the best version of myself, let's just put it that way. And so, yes, sometimes the development is very clear, and you can kind of tell how old someone is by how they act, although I would stop imposing correct behaviors or patterns of behaviors onto people just because of their age. Like, I hate when people say, oh, but you're only 18, you're not old enough to make this decision yet. Dude, I'm legal by the law. I can do what I want. Just because I'm young, you may not agree with the law that an 18-year-old is considered an adult, and that's fine. You don't have to. But literally, I am. Maybe my brain isn't fully developed until I'm 25. I get that. But that doesn't mean that I am utterly incompetent. Because that's what a lot of adults act like. Like, children and teenagers are utterly incompetent. And I think that's extremely disrespectful. I think our young generation has a lot to offer, and our opinions deserve to be listened to. We can be a bit outspoken sometimes, yes, I will admit. Can be a bit reactive, but naturally, people have phases of that. And look, I know some really old adults who act what people say should not be like their age. Way younger. Like toddlers. So, like, I've met toddlers, I think, that are more emotionally mature than some adults I've seen in the world. So, don't stereotype. Don't stereotype. Just because I'm 18 doesn't mean I haven't had a single deep thought in the world. I have had probably... Dude, I have had so many deep thoughts that I don't know. You know, I consider myself a philosopher in a way. You know, age doesn't define me. I don't want my age to define me. There is one thing I must say to the young generation. Keep talking. Keep spreading your opinions. You know? And when an adult disrespects you, just like how adults say to kids, don't disrespect your elders, I think it should be mutual. Adults respect the younger generations, because we get a lot of trash talk from you guys. So yeah, just be outspoken. It's a good thing. So that's pretty much all I have to say on that. One more parting note is I also want to talk, maybe I'll do this next week, on how your looks affect how other people perceive you. Because this is a huge thing I go through a lot. And also how old you look can predict a lot of how people will treat you in society. But I figure maybe that's for next week. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. I love you. Stay safe out there. Subscribe or else you'll turn into a block of cheese. Okay, goodbye.